as such, the challenge after Russia becomes the Soviet Union, you now have a large, fulfilled government set up under communistic concepts. Hadn't had that before. And it only tries to grow stronger as the years pass. You then have China go into a communist structure. So now you have two very large countries advocating communism. You, of course, have the free world, as the expression is, trying to build around democratic principles. And you wind up with that conflict between the communistic attitude and the capitalistic view. Your book gives you this on page 418, Communism versus Capitalism. Communism describes a social political system committed to the principle that the central state should own and operate the nation's means of production and distribution of goods, with the whole population sharing the resulting wealth equally. We've talked about that before, that you don't really wind up having it shared equally, but that was the principle of it. Capitalism is a system based on the principle that the world's market capital should function according to free market forces, which is Adam Smith's theory about wealth of nations. Government should have little to do with regulation of the government and the financial world. Individual initiative and enterprise should function to produce and distribute goods among the population. The idea of the laissez-faire attitude, let live and let be, let it be so, let it direct it as it wants to. Well, the result is that you have these two sort of conflict. You can't have everybody, own because you're making these people slave to the state. That would be the argument about communism, because you're not really sharing equally. Then the argument against capitalism, they become slave to the employer. It's that whole situation that Karl Marx had indicated and Friedrich Engels had indicated in the Communist Manifesto, that proletariats are taken advantage of by the bourgeoisie. So, comes this view back and forth, philosophical discussion about what should be and couldn't be. How much should government impede businesses? Should there be restrictions? Can there be restrictions? Well, in the early part of the 20th century, the government in the United States had gotten involved regarding businesses. Theodore Roosevelt, while president, trust busting. The idea about these monopolies that had developed over certain industries, they broke it up. He said, no, you can't do that. Only one person, one company controlling all this. Give other people a shot. You're not giving people a chance, because literally somebody else will try to come in with the same business, and because the large corporation had enough time, they can lower the prices enough, so eventually the other person would have to go out of business. And this becomes part of the issue that we see about capitalistic versus communistic attitude. There are proponents on both sides. What's eventually been realized, and I made this comment about communism before, eventually there's going to still be inequity. It says everybody's supposed to share equally, but it's a little hard to say, okay, the person working in the mine for 10 hours to dig coal is going to get the same thing as a person who sits in an office filling out paperwork for 10 hours. Well, they both work 10 hours. That's the principle. They both work 10 hours. But the person digging in the coal mine was in very different circumstances as opposed to the person who's in the office. And they say, well, we need to accommodate for the, shall we say, atmosphere of the work. Well, they go, no, that's not how we're going to do it. And also, the work of the person in the office becomes valued more for different reasons above the work of the person in the coal mine. And so suddenly the person whose work is valued more is receiving more. Well, you're not supposed to do that with the communistic attitude. But we do that today in our world. That's how we do it, capitalistic attitude. We say the person working at Walmart, okay, nothing against Walmart, the person working at Walmart as the checker receives a certain salary, right? A lawyer working in an office receives a certain salary, right? We'll go with per hour. Let's say the checker gets $15 an hour. It's not $15 an hour in this state, but that's what they're shooting for. $15 an hour. What will a lawyer receive by the hour when you tabulate what a lawyer gets per hour? Anybody know? Usually it's a couple $100 per hour for, like, if they're going to draw up a contract for you. They're going to charge you a couple $100, sometimes $300 to draw up the contract per hour. That's what's calculated at. And they'll say, okay, this is going to be a 3-hour job, so you owe me $600. to draft up this contract. That's how they look at it. And it's done that way. Well, what makes the lawyer's hourly rate worth $200, but the checker only $15? Well, the reasoning is that, well, the work the checker does is immediate and momentary. It's only for that time, right? Check your goods, gone. Okay, there's nothing else. It's not lingering and lasting, right? But the work that the lawyer does, a contract, for instance, it's going to have longer range effect, because that contract is going to come into play in a number of other areas later, right? So therefore, that work has more value because of what it represents, as opposed to what the checker's work is. And that's why we put the value on. Well, that's a capitalistic system. Okay, you pay what the market will bear. For instance, do any of you have an iPhone? The iPhone 6. Okay? And I don't want to put you on the spot. And that cost you what?
The phone itself,
yeah, like $600. Okay? Jake's is going to cost me nothing because you signed up for a 2-year plan, right? Yeah, so you got an upgrade. Do you pay so much per, now they have the plan where you pay so much a month. You pay so much a month, and then every time they come out with a new one, you get a new one, right? So you're going to pay $35 a month, which means, of course, you pay $420 a year. You're not paying for it, okay. But that, literally, $35 a month is $420 a year on top of the contract. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you're going to get a new phone for free whenever they come out with a new one. But you actually already paid for it, right? It's not really, nothing's for free. But that's what we're looking at. We pay for these things because that's what we're willing to pay it. We want it. We'll pay for it. My mother had one of my older phones. So they have to the little phone she had. So I gave her one of my older phones with the little SIM card in. Well, then she was in the bathroom doing something and she hit it and it landed in the toilet. So you know what happened to that one. It actually worked for a little while. She goes, it's fine, it's working. Well, then it quit working. So I went and got her a little, we're on AT&T. I'm on AT&T. My mother's phone system is through my sister's line. But they're on AT&T also. So I went and picked up one of the little AT&T Go phones, which is a no contract phone. Which, so long as you put the SIM card in it, it'll be activated. So that's what I did. I went and picked up one. It was about $35. It's a smartphone. It can connect to the internet. It can take pictures. It can send texts. It can look at videos. It's a little Android phone. It's not an iPhone, but it's an Android base. Right back to her. It has like a 5-inch screen display. I thought it'd be really good. She'll be able to see it. She won't use it. She won't. I can't figure it out. Just touch here. No, she won't do it. No, she didn't want an iPhone. She didn't want one of those. She didn't want these things. So, okay. So I've had to go and online find one that's kind of, she knocked to the toilet. I had to find one of those. We're supposed to be getting that taken care of this weekend. Because they don't make that kind anymore. But, smartphones, okay. It was $30-something, I think is what it came to total for a smartphone. So you can pay $600 or $35 a month, or you can pay $35 one time and still have a smartphone. Because you can. They come in all ranges now. Prices literally can be, if you want all the bells and whistles, concept, or you want the name on it, be this much. People pay for it. Or you don't have to. You can go all the way down to a different kind, which do not necessarily look all that significantly different. And of course, we always want to get the phone for free if we can, right? Sign that 2-year contract with them, and they'll give you the phone for free or for a discounted price of very minimal amount. We do that, unless of course you go straight talk, no contracts, right? Half the cost. But the situation is that we have these technologies available to us in a very different way. I was mentioning television for you. Well, now of course, as I said, in the 50s and 60s, you had 3 major channels and maybe a few local channels. A couple of local channels, maybe your PBS channel. You'd have public broadcasting came along. Well, nowadays, you folks would, if there were only 6 or 7 channels, how would you feel? I mean, my gosh. And you had to actually be there to watch the program because there was no way to record it. I mean, when the program came on at 7 o'clock, you had to be there to watch it. Of course, primetime actually used to start at 6:30. Okay. And 6:30 to 7 was designated family view. So you had family shows. When the Flintstones first came on, they were a primetime cartoon and they showed at 6:30. That was in the 60s. I remember it well. When Batman came on in the mid-60s, the one with all the bow and clashing all that stuff, sort of the shall we say, less serious kind of Batman. That television series, it also came on at 6:30. It was so popular they put 2 episodes a week on because it was that popular. The result is that technology has evolved to a point where you don't have to be there to see it. You can record it. Now, recording started with videotape. And they started making videotape. Now, they'd been around for a while about being able to record, but they were very pricey. But then they started making them for mass consumption, consumerism. The very first VHS, the VCR that was developed, cost quite a bit. But then eventually they started dropping in price. And people thought, oh my gosh, $350 for a VCR? That's great. Nowadays you go, you pay what for what? Yeah, I know. Well, then of course you move from VCRs to not VHS tapes to see anymore. You move to DVDs. And then you move to recordable DVDs, right? Oh my gosh, you can record on a DVD. You can be watching that movie and record it. And then, of course, now you've moved to DVRs, which are essentially computers, right? You know that that's what that is. There's a hard drive in that DVR, and it can record. And it just stores things to your hard drive of your DVR. That's all that is. Same as this computer or the computers you guys have in front of you. The idea about the recording that, which is what I'm doing right now. In fact, I'm recording these comments. Well, this is what this era is. This globalism. It talks about communication technology. This is what it comes to. This idea about immediate access has developed to the point where literally the ads are on all the time now. You can have access to your DirecTV or your Dish Network or your cable channels, etc., on any of your connected devices, right? You can literally take your smartphone, touch the app, which is short for application, by the way, in case you were wondering. Okay, it's an application, but they just call it an app now. It's now in the dictionary as app, all by itself. Yeah. And you tap your app, call that up, and if you hit your DirecTV icon, you can log in and you can watch any of the programs that are currently on HBO. I guess we'll go with that one if you want to. If you have a subscription to HBO through your DirecTV, you can watch it. Or you don't even necessarily have to go through DirecTV. You can actually have the HBO app and click on it, log in as a DirecTV customer or Dish Network customer, and then they'll let you start watching. And you can watch it on your phone. People do that nowadays. They watch television programs on their phones. Or you can go to your house if you don't have DirecTV. You can watch an entire season of a show on Netflix, right? You just call it and watch it all at once. 20 hours worth of television program all at once. Get it out of the way. Used to be you had to wait for the VHS tapes to come out so you could buy one program for and then of course DVDs. You could buy the DVDs and get a season at a time. And now of course we have Blu-rays. It's supposed to be higher quality. Of course you better have a TV that functions that way. TVs have changed. As I told you earlier, it used to be when televisions, 40s, first ones 40s and 50s, the screen was about maybe 12 inches. Many of them were not even 12 inches, they were 9 inches diagonally. but those were the focus of the family. Everybody would sit around and watch that, black and white. And eventually, though, nowadays, buy yourself a projector, such as the one up here in our room, and it will broadcast a signal 100 inches diagonally. You have televisions that you purchase. There was again, I was in Walmart the other day. I think there was a 60-inch television, LED, for $398. That was unheard of. But technology has evolved to that point. For what used to be almost inconceivably produced is now the idea that you couldn't do something like that. Well, now you can. And as such, it's created this smaller world. Literally, you can take the phone. As I said, when the first transcontinental cable was established, it was just tremendous. You could actually call overseas. Well, you folks don't think anything at all about that. On your cell phones, you can make calls to any place, anywhere. You didn't have to worry about toll charges. That's what they used to be called. They called toll charges. When was the last time you paid a long-distance bill? What the heck is a long-distance bill, right? It used to be that you had your local numbers you could call, but if you wanted to call someplace else, if you want to call a place at distance, such as when I was growing up trying to call Dallas, I grew up 30 miles from Dallas. Okay, and I had relatives that lived over in Dallas and Grand Prairie in the area. Well, if I wanted to call them, my aunt lived in Grand Prairie. If I wanted to call my aunt in Grand Prairie, it was a long-distance call, and I was charged at a different rate. And some of you are going, that's just strange. That's just weird. Yes, I know. Things have changed. The world becomes smaller. You can communicate instantly. As I said this morning on my way in, I didn't look at the message until I got to my office. So, my little phone went off, so I knew I'd received a message. Got to the office, looked at it. By that time, the person had sent a second message. It's like, okay, I'm in the car. I'm not going to respond to it. Same message, saying that wouldn't be able to come to class today, seeing under the weather. Instant communication. Of course, we want the response immediately, too. We have emails, which, of course, Jacob, sometimes we don't always get, and sometimes it doesn't always go through. But, that's just the way life is sometimes. But for the most part, we can do that. You can use computers, these little devices that you have, and access information. I'm recording a lecture that I will go up later this afternoon and post so that my online students who live who knows where can watch it, if everything works properly. We hope. That's the idea. I mean, it's a tremendously different age, which raises problems and other issues. We mentioned earlier about the going through the toll roads, and they'll send you the bill. And as I made the comment then, are you aware that they're able to know exactly where you were as you're going through that? Somebody's watching you at that time. You walk up to an ATM, they're going to see you. There's a camera there. You drive through the streets of towns, there are cameras posted at red lights. They note cars. You have cameras set up by businesses. Most, I'm not going to say most, many convenience stores have cameras attached for the outside so they can watch the people coming in and going out of the stores. As I said earlier, you've seen these television shows where the police go and contact, go see if you can find some businesses with cameras. Let's see about surveillance and we get the footage so they can see who was in the area. And you see that on television programs all the time, right? They're watching you. It's a song in the 80s called Somebody's Watching You. Okay, well, they really are now. When Orwell wrote 1984 in 1945, and he talked about Big Brother is always watching, well, for the most part, yeah, it's true. Your phones, so long as they're turned on and activated, guess what? You can be tracked wherever you go. You know that, right? That little GPS that you guys like to use to find where I'm supposed to go so you don't have to have a folded map anymore. It also works in reverse. What is it that always happens when you're trying to find directions to something? What does the little message come up? Share your location, right? And you all click OK because you Yeah, suddenly somebody knows where you are. And they literally do, because what appears on the screen of your phone? Your current location, exactly where you are. Address, everything. They pinpoint, you're right here. Well, some people have problems with that. They say that's an issue. This is invasion of privacy to that extent. Well, okay. Other issues come up. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. Any of those sound familiar to you folks? I would go with MySpace, but nobody uses that anymore. Is making a comeback? Okay. Well, maybe so. I don't know. I don't have any of those. But think about that. With those, you can send out tweets on Twitter. You can send out your tweets of what you're doing. Take a picture of yourself. Take a little video and send it up, right? People can see you almost immediately. It even tells you when it was posted, how long ago it was posted. And people can know, oh, look, she's in class. And she's tweeting. Which, of course, she's not supposed to be doing. Or he is. Whoever it is. That's the situation. We're able to have that. Well, some people say, well, wait a minute. We're invading privacy. Are we sharing too much? Do we really want to know all these things? Over the weekend, Beyonce had her lemonade response. Right? Yes. And mentioned about Becky. Suppositions about who Becky is. Of course, now some are saying one of the persons who's close to Beyonce wrote a biography about her, so there really is no Becky. There's no one person. Okay. But of course, people responded tremendously about that who are loyal Beyonce fans, right? They thought that it might have referenced Rachel Ray, who does television talk show with cooking. Of course, it's supposed to be possibly a reference to Rachel Roy, who was a stylist and designer, worked with Beyonce. And so suddenly Rachel Ray, spelled R-A-C-H-A-E-L, Ray, R-A-Y, is receiving at her Twitter account and Facebook account all of these very hurtful, derogatory messages. Because they're going to speak out on behalf of their Beyonce. So, of course, Rachel Ray posted a recipe for lemonade. Meanwhile, Rachel Roy, because it's not Rachel Ray, it's Rachel Roy. Her name is R-A-C-H-E-L, Roy, R-O-Y. She started getting some. She closed her Instagram and her Twitter accounts. Because of all the messages she was receiving. She was closed it. Well, this idea that we can communicate, that we can send messages, which is part of this era now, this global world that we have. Anybody around the world can do this. Is that what we're supposed to be using it for? To send threats and condemnations to a person that you really do not know? That becomes an issue. It's great that you can communicate like that. How wonderful is it with, those of you with iPads, so FaceTime, right? Where you don't just have to make a phone call. Now you can actually see the person on the other end. So if you're separated for reasons, that's really great. Members of the military use FaceTime so they can communicate with their families. They may not have seen them for weeks, but now they can. That's tremendous, right? But there are other issues that come along with this. And it comes up with the idea then, if this is the world, if these are the issues, this is what we're coming to, where are we really in the state of our existence? Where are we supposed to be? And in your book, it talks about existentialism, a developing philosophy about what is life supposed to be like, where are we supposed to be, and you have, among others, Jean-Paul Sartre talking about being or nothingness. Are we here or are we not? What is this all supposed to be? It all becomes part of that sense of that theory of relativity about it's all a matter of perception. How are we supposed to be? Sartre, in his Existentialism in 1945, you have a little excerpt from it, says that man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. Man is at the start of a plan, a plan which is aware of itself, rather than a patch of moss, piece of garbage, etc. It says, there is nothing in heaven. Man will be what he will have planned to be, not what he will want to be. That man is responsible for himself, but we do not only mean that he's responsible for his own individuality, but that he's responsible for all men. That we have to plan. We have to understand what is it we want to be and make a plan and follow through that way. That gives purpose and direction to life. And you have the existential hero mentioned there also, page 419, which means he takes up a quest for meaning. Alienated by nature and circumstance, he makes choices in a world lacking moral absolutes, a world in which no act might be called good unless it is chosen in conscious preference to its alternatives. And we talked about in chapter 14 this view that comes along, that starts developing this idea of matter of perception, of relativity, that what seems right here is not right there. The idea that we're driven by our id or ego or superego, trying to keep everything in balance. That superego has this view about what is right and what is wrong, but the id says, I see, I want, I take. And how do you balance that? Well, this becomes, what the existential concept looks at. All right, what are we going to be? How are we going to be? There are no moral absolutes. Everything is always relative. There is no one right, one wrong anymore. Because Einstein's theory has already shown us everything is a matter of perception. Where are you at this particular time? What do you see? And that will change what it is. The cubic art form is a matter of perception. In your textbook in chapter 14, you have a couple of Picasso works where, again, it's a matter of, okay, yes, that's a man with a violin if I look at it in a certain way. Oh, yeah, there's the ear. Oh, okay, down here, there's the, looks like might be the violin, okay? Matter of perception. They're trying to make us see things differently. Well, the existential hero comes along and says, okay, that's the problem. Everybody sees differently. There are no absolutes anymore. So what is it that we're going to have? Well, he tries to find something he can count on. He tries to find meaning in a world that doesn't seem to have it anymore. They mention Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg here. Kerouac in the 50s was On the Road, Looking at the World How by Ginsberg, who's part of the Beat Generation. Randleman on America's Loss of Values is how your book calls it, and they give you a little quote about from How. References to illicit drugs, sexual, homosexual acts, the evils of American commercialism, opens with these angry lines, and it has this on page 419 for you. I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, dragging themselves through the Negro streets at dawn, looking for an angry fix. Angel-headed hipsters burning for the ancient heavenly connection to the starry dynamo and the machinery of night. The work goes on from there. It's a very long work and has some really profane graphic expressions, but that's just Ginsberg. But that idea is that this is a world that has issues and problems and tries to ignore them for a while. In the 40s and 50s, you didn't want to talk about the racial issue. Let's just ignore it. Oh, let's go with the initial idea that, we can create separate but equal facilities. Well, that doesn't work. Brown versus the Topeka Board of Education says, no, that's not going to work. And so by the 60s, integration is forced. I think Dallas's court order about integration has finally ended, but it lingered for years. Some of the places that did not integrate early were some of the Northeast schools. We're talking Boston. I remember when they had the forced integration, finally, the court finally said, no, you have to do it. And buses were rocked, as the expression is. People were standing on the streets throwing rocks at buses. It became an issue that has worked through eventually. Same about education for women. Women were not allowed into certain universities. Are any of you planning on going to Texas A&M down at College Station maybe? Any of you want to be an Aggie? Smart choices. Okay. Nothing against, I'm a UT grad. Okay. Nothing against A&M. Several former students of mine have gone to A&M. I'm very, very proud of them. But A&M did not admit women for a very long time. It was in the 60s where they actually started admitting women. And then the Corps didn't admit women until the 70s, and they weren't happy about it. The U.S. military academies, West Point, Annapolis, the Air Force Academy, Colorado Springs, they did not admit women until the middle of the 1970s. The 1976 freshman class was the first class to admit women. You couldn't go to a military academy if you were a woman. Wasn't allowed. Why not? Women weren't meant to be soldiers or sailors. Why not? Questions come up. The world starts re-examining what is and saying, does it have to be that way? And some of that is that existential philosophy. If there's no moral absolute, is anything an absolute? Science has started changing that for them. There are no absolutes anymore. Give you an idea, when I was growing up, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of age, the prevailing theory was the Ice Age killed the dinosaurs. That's not the theory anymore, is it? No. Well, why not? What happened? Well, they looked at it differently. Things are altered. Understandings have changed. Just as technologies have changed the way we look at the world itself. If you really want to see where a house is, what can you do? Take your phone out, go to Google Maps, get the satellite view, and you'll hone right in on it, won't it? You can actually see the people standing there in the backyard. That's a interesting thought. Think about that. You go out in the morning to go pick up your mail. You're not worried about how you look, but somebody could be looking at you. Because that's the way things are. You know, occasionally up in my office, I've had issues with the computer up there occasionally. So I call the tech people, and they go, "Okay, can we, we just need to make sure we have permission to, take over your computer." Okay, and next thing you know, that's what they're doing. They're taking over the computer, and they're moving the mouse. They're doing all sorts of things. They're typing up stuff. It's all appearing right there. Distance use, right? I've had conferences with publishers and other colleagues. We've had conferences that are joint conferences, and occasionally they'll say, "We just need to take over your computer for a moment. Give us access. Click yes here." And so the next thing you know, they're calling up all the information that we need to have for this conference. Well, this is what the global world is like now. It has changed dramatically. It's raised issue about equality, both gender and racial. It has raised issues about what are we supposed to see. You have, of course, individuals who question what can we do? How far has technology gone? When Dolly was cloned, everybody know who Dolly is? It's a sheep. Dolly was a sheep and it was cloned. So suddenly you take one sheep and you take the cells from it and you make a new one just like her. Wow. And of course, that's going into play now. More and more, they want to, they're still working on it because not everybody likes it. The idea about instead of having people have to donate their organs, you can donate a kidney or whatever, we can just grow them. And you don't like that idea, do you? Yes, many people don't like that idea, which is why it hasn't come to fruition yet. But will it happen? Probably. We don't want to clone a human being, though. But we do have artificial insemination, which used to just be used with livestock, by the way. But now we have, people who cannot have children themselves, but hey, now we have artificial insemination. We can do it this way. Or we have people who will carry your baby to term. If the wife can't do it, we'll take from the wife, take from the husband, put it together, and instead of putting it into the womb of the wife, no, we'll give it to another woman to carry to term. Right? That happens. So, okay, look what technology has done. Are we overstepping boundaries? People question this. Or are we actually creating benefits to the world? The idea that we have in this room mixed genders and races attending classes goes a long way. It goes a long way to what are the positive aspects of this global world. Appreciation of different cultures. Hopefully that's part of what this class has done, to expose some of these different cultures to you and what they have done, and appreciation of just what they were doing thousands of years ago that has helped to impact what is taking place now. We didn't talk about music, sorry, or movies, but a reminder, next week, Captain America Civil War comes out. Okay? So, keep that in mind. You know, this comic book, I'm going to conclude with this one. This comic book hero, who literally goes back to World War II. That's when Captain America first was presented. And he battled Red Skull, who worked for Hitler. Read the comic books. Now we have him in a world, because the whole issue of Civil War, in case you guys haven't read that comic book or graphic novel, is the registering of Inhumans, people who have supernatural or unnatural powers or abilities, registering them so they can be kept track of. Iron Man says that'd be a good thing, because you know what happens if we have issues. And Captain America says that is wrong. It's an invasion of rights. We cannot target people. It's that whole issue. What's right and what's wrong. And both, because Iron Man and Captain America, there's the two sides. They both see their position as right. Captain America says a way to protect the world, protect the population, and also to help these people understand what they can do. We have to know who they are. Captain America says we cannot do that to people by isolating them in this way, saying you are different and we're going to mark you as such. Because, of course, remember, he's from World War II, and he knows that in Germany, they marked the Jews. In America, during World War II, anyone of Japanese descent was put into a concentration area. We didn't want to call them camps. Concentration area, just in case they might, whether they had leanings or not, just in case. In the 50s, of course, Cap wasn't around then, he was sleeping. Frozen nights. We had people being labeled as communistic under McCarthyism. And Captain America says, no. And it's this issue. What's right? What's wrong? Two perspectives. Is there a moral absolute? Is there an absolute right or wrong? And in this new world, maybe not. It's a different world. A reminder that you have chapter 14 to get finished. Chapter 15 has to be finished by next Friday the 6th. So take care of it before you go see the movie. And your final exam, 13 through 15, due by the 8th, no later than the 8th. Okay.